nation. We must try and create a new nation. We must try and examine where we are as a nation and what the critical elements we need to do as a people to create a new nation. Maybe what I can start off with is to read a few things that came to my notice over the last few days. You know, the first one talks about the big picture, a reminder, the big picture, a reminder. It says 1966, 24th of February, 1966, Kwame Nkrumah overthrown as president in Ghana. His country was the first in Africa to kick out British colonization. And in 1957, Nkrumah had emerged from prison, still wearing his prison cap, to deliver a blistering independence speech, fists pumping in the air, to rancorous ovation. Ghana's independence had been attended by American civil rights leader, Reverend Martin Luther King, who had never seen a black man overthrow white people before. King now believed that freedom was truly possible and returned to America on fire. The fire grew into his 1963 mountaintop speech, I have a dream. I have a dream. I'm not sure that's the mountaintop speech. I think that one is, we have been to the mountain. But this one is, I have a dream. I think that was done in 64, 65. Just before he was assassinated, 1968. That's the mountaintop speech. 1968, just before he was assassinated. I have been to the mountain. Anyway, in 1964, another civil rights leader, Malcolm X, would arrive in Ghana. He was so inspired by Nkrumah that he went back to America and set up a copy of Nkrumah's Pan-Africanist organization, the Organization of African Unity. Malcolm X called his own the Organization of Afro-American Unity, or OAAU. But on February 21, 1965, Malcolm X, as he mounted the rostrum to open the eyes of African Americans to this new idea, the CIA, listen to this, the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency of America, shot him dead. The CIA shot him dead. That same 1965, Nkrumah had published a book with the title New Colonialism, the Last Stage of Imperialism. In it, he outlined his ideological steps to freeing the economies of African countries from continuing European and American colonial control in spite of nominal independence. Immediately the book was published, listen to this again, the CIA wrote a letter to the US president analyzing the book chapter by chapter, and advising that these ideas were dangerous, The 280-page book led to immediate sanctions by the US, who froze $300 million in aid and placed Nkrumah on a CIA hit list. 6 months later, on the 24th of February 1966, President Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown in a coup by Ghana military officers while on a diplomatic mission to China. In 1978, John Stockwell, a former chief of the CIA Angola Task Force, wrote that the CIA base in Accra maintained contact with the coup plotters and was given full, if unofficial, credit for the eventual coup. Under its new leadership, Ghana went back on every policy Nkrumah outlined in his decolonization strategy, realigned itself with European interests, invited the IMF and the World Bank to help manage its economy, privatized many of its state corporations under American and European imperialist control. At the same time Ghana was becoming independent, a young practiced Lumumba had given a fiery speech chastising the Belgian king publicly and repudiating every claim the Europeans had made about how good colonialism was. Immediately, listen to this again, the CIA director in Washington, Dulles, sent a CIA station chief in Congo, Lawrence Delvin, that an assassination of Lumumba was urgent and prime, and gave him authority to replace him with a pro-Western group with a budget of $100,000. And Lumumba was assassinated. The same thing they did in Burkina Faso with Thomas Sankara. And in Nigeria, the anti-colonial party of Hubert Macaulay, the NCNC, was strategically sidelined by both internal and external forces. The old man personally took the British government to court several times, organized with Market Women's Association under Alaja Pelimotu Aliwura and labor unions under Pa Michael Umodu to make life hard for the colonial government. The Lagos colonial administrator, Sir Macpherson, punished Macaulay for his activism. Trumped-up charges were leveled against the fervent anti-colonialists, and twice he spent many months in colonial jail. Then during his election campaign in northern Nigeria, Herbert Macaulay took ill suddenly and died. His unexpected death trusted party leadership upon his deputy, Nnamdi Azikiwe. The new NCNC leader was also highly educated anti-colonialist and a contemporary of Nkrumah during their education in the US, when they mingled with evolving civil rights movement there. With party leadership upon him, Azikiwe was outmaneuvered both by colonial collusion in favor of more conservative northern elite politicians, and ethnocentric politics was more marketable among its own base. The politically important prime minister position then fell to the conservative northern ruling class, and Azikiwe settled for a ceremonial position as president. More than half a century later, we can only imagine a world where the class of independence leaders who birthed the ideology of full economic decolonization were not interrupted, but allowed to lay a lasting foundation. It would have been a different Africa if, instead of stooges and small-minded men, the progressive and powerful ideas of Nkrumah, Lumumba, Sankara, Savimbi, Macaulay, and other anti-colonial forces had been left to flourish into sustainable democracies with systems and institutions that can be passed from one generation to the next. Nigeria forging a new nation. We can see from this write-up the big picture, reminder of Africa, what happened in Africa, what is still happening in Africa, and how they have allowed Africa to become what Africa has become, creating a new nation. We really need to think very seriously, very aggressively, very practicably, with very simple steps of what we need to do to really create a new nation. And we'll be taking comments. It's an open mic, an open floor, and anybody who has any ideas as to what we really need to do to create this nation is free to speak to the subject matter. Another area that is of concern to me is this issue of two very, very strong or seemingly strong political parties in Nigeria, the APC and the PDP, who now think that the political future of Nigeria is their heritage and they are the ones in charge. And everybody is being made to believe that you cannot compete against these two parties, the APC or the PDP, that they have all the structures and everything. The great challenge of that is that it means that Nigerians will not have any say. Listen to me and listen to me carefully. Nigerians will not have any say whatsoever in who becomes their president, because it is whosoever the APC or the PDP presents that we would have to choose from. And among those two parties, there's a very small select group of people, very small, very select group of people who may be, in their own regard, the people that they will put forward. So almost from jumpstart, it is like a dead on arrival project, in that right now, if you don't belong to a certain class in either of those two parties, it is almost impossible that you can stand a fighting chance of aspiring to leadership, or we can have a chance of choosing anybody. So our choices are already limited even before the game begins. I don't think we are going to be able to choose out of more than maybe a maximum of 20 or 50 people. It means also that there's going to be no fresh faces at all in this race that we're in. It's going to be among one of the 36 governors, maybe one of the leading senators, maybe one of the leading chieftain of these two parties. So if you look among that class of people, and we can go through a pecking list, we all need to decide if anyone in that list really has the strength, the capacity, and the competence to give Nigeria the kind of leadership that it needs come 2023 in creating a new nation. So the discourse today really is this: what can we do starting now, the 22nd day of July, 2021, to make sure that in May 2023, Nigerians truly have a say in who their leaders become? What are the steps that the average Nigerian needs to take to truly have a say in this, who becomes their leader? Right now, we're having all manners of economic challenges. The Naira is falling almost on a daily basis because of our monoproduct economy that relies only on oil as a single product. The economy, the prices of foodstuff is rising almost on a daily basis. I was with my mother-in-law yesterday when she started a little Gari business about 6 or 9 months ago, or maybe a year. Gari was selling at 22,000 per bag or something like that. She says now it's about 45,000 per bag, and it looks as if very soon it will be 60,000 per bag. It has moved so rapidly in under 1 year. Petrol is still a problem. Power is still epileptic. Infrastructure is almost unavailable. People were coming to church on Sunday last week. It took them 6 hours riding through the traffic to get to the places of worship. Some were coming from Abeokuta to Ibadan, but still it was a very, very challenging situation. And we're having this issue where we don't really know what to do and where to turn to. How do we build a new nation in Nigeria? How do we deal with the truncated development that we have experienced? How do we deal with a political class that have decided that Nigeria belongs to them and they're going to share our resources simply among them, and they don't really care who leads Nigeria and whether the average person gets the benefit of being a true Nigerian citizen? What do we do with our institutions that have been so weakened, defeated, trashed, and put down? The judiciary, the political class, the police, the even INEC itself. What do we do about these things? Even right now, in 2021, people are arguing that transmission of results by electronic means is not acceptable, that we must transmit them manually or have a hybrid of both. Who does not know that people are thinking of how they can manipulate results, and they've been so bullish and been so brazen about it in this Nigeria. Look at the issue of the IB and resource control and reducing what the allocation to the resource producing areas to 3%. Meanwhile, they were rephrasing the terminology for an oil producing area. If a pipeline passes through your land, then you are oil producing. And then we're allocating 20-something% to exploration of oil in a particular area of Nigeria, not just all over Nigeria, a particular area of Nigeria. Some percentage must go specifically to finding oil there. What is so special about that area of Nigeria? Who has told us that there might be oil there? And why are we committing so much resource there? There are many, many questions begging for answers. And Nigerians are looking, sitting, being passive, being uninvolved, standing like lame ducks, as though there's nothing we can do about it. And this is the question that I want all of us to discuss and contribute to today, as to what do we do to build a new nation in Nigeria. If you want to comment, just please raise up your hand electronically so that I can ask you or invite you to speak. Otherwise, I may just invite people at random. I see quite a few faces here, and I know that we all have some idea or the other, or some point or the other, and we cannot all just keep standing by and watching and looking helplessly as though this country doesn't belong to us. We are all standing by, watching, looking helplessly as though there's nothing we can do, and nobody's really ready to bail the cat, take the risk, and really get involved. I see somebody called Moto C, Elomian Christopher wants to talk, and after him, I'll take Chief Ephraim Falugi. He also is raising his hands, wants to say something. So Elomian, let me hear what you have to say. Unmute yourself, and if you don't mind, let's see your face so that we can hear what you have to say. I see also Bimbola Duarte wanting to say something. So let's hear from Elomian, then we'll go to Chief Ephraim Falugi, and then Bimbola Duarte. Thank you very much. Let me to write the names. Elomian, the floor is yours. He's gone. Okay, Chief Ephraim, can we hear you, please? Please unmute yourself and let's hear what you have to say.
Well, thanks, Pastor Ituah. I'm sorry I've not been active for about 3 weeks now. Really, as you say, we don't know where to start, or we don't know where to stop. My opinion is that we don't have any government at all. And Nigerians, we are very, extremely docile. We can't sustain any issues. If we start a mass revolution within a week or 5 days, people are tired because some of them are self-employed, all these laborers who live on daily basis. But I think my contribution to this is that INEC should register 3 or 4 more political parties. Are you hearing me?
We're hearing
you. They need to register 3 or 4 political parties. PDP and APC are all not solvable. They are all corrupt, as you said. They are all. For me, the governors, the present politicians, the senators, the House of Assembly, all these people should ban from taking part in the presidency 2023 election. They should be all written off. INEC has to also, let's get an independent candidate. We need some independent candidates. That's what I said. Register 2 more, 3, 4 political party, or get independent candidate. There are a lot of Nigerians who are capable, who have not been corrupted, who are not involved. People like Adesina, Pastor Ituah, and few others who can take this country to where it should be. But to me, if you talk about corruption, just like what Soyinka posted today, there's something, I was going to get it out before you called my name. Soyinka posted something about all the corruptions in PDP, but he also failed to mention all the corruptions from APC and all what this present government has done, shifted all our wealth to Niger Republic. He has not said that, and people are commenting on it. He is one of our problems because as a true citizen of this country, he should be able to speak out the truth and not evade anything. But as I said, I'm not going to stay long. The thing is that we need a mass revolution, sustainable mass revolution, not with gun, not with anything, protest, but can we sustain it? During the Nedeco period, I was involved in a march from Surulere to Ikeja to everywhere that Abacha must go. I was involved, but thank God everything changed. But unless miracle happens, the country is sick. We don't know how long we're going to live. You said it all. When we can't sustain this, the two political parties are corrupt. PDP is not good. It's not. It's the same thing with APC. Once you have offended, you're corrupt in APC, in PDP, you repent, they take you into APC. Once you are corrupt in APC, when you leave, they take you into PDP. So we're done. We need independent candidates. And I don't care where the person comes from, whether it's Southwest, Southeast, South-South, South-North, anything, but somebody who can take us out of this wahala we are in. I think that's my opinion.
Very much, sir.
All of them are all corrupt. Everything is corrupt. Judiciary, everything is corrupt.
Is unbelievable. Totally unbelievable, unimaginable. Thank you very much, sir. Those points are noted, and we're making notes of them, and we're going to see how to execute some of these things that we're saying here. Okay, Bimbola Duarte, I think. Bimbola Duarte, I saw your hands up also. Let us hear your comments, please. Please unmute yourself, ma. Can you hear me? She's not coming up. She can't hear us. Okay. Alex Ajibade, please, let me go to you very quickly. Please unmute yourself. I mean, they can't hear you.
Okay.
Alex.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I say good afternoon to everybody.
Good afternoon.
I was just trying to write what my points are. They say those who make peaceful change impossible automatically allows violent change to take place. And when people are oppressed, they say oppression makes the wise man mad. And it's that kind of madness that we are seeing in people like Igboho and Kanu right now. Now, when we say the scripture says that the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. What is the kind of thing we have right now? And then when you look at international politics too, we see what happened to Nkrumah and co. But then those who planned against Nkrumah were the people they even celebrate today in Ghana. So what is the force we are talking now? You see that by the kind of thing we see with the NSAS. And we could see that the government right now is doing everything they can to avoid a repeat of NSAS. And that's why they monitor the account of people they felt sponsored NSAS. Makes things very difficult for people to sponsor. At the same time, when we leave the civilian coup, which is something like an NSAS, is the military. But we know that the military too is corrupted. All the money we voted for the Boko Haram insurgency in the Northeast has made multi-billionaires in dollars with the generals. Now generals are looking for elongation of terms and the like. So contact. But that's where we are going because unfortunately, like I keep telling people, is that our politicians have become the comedians. And we Nigerians, we have become the spectators, home video watchers. So we only shout, hey, when we see it, and we forget about it because as comedians, we laugh about what happens. Hey, something happened in NDDC. The man was dramatizing in the house. What did we do? We laughed over it, become a comedy. We start putting a lot of things. So that's the kind of thing, and it's very, very discouraging to lay down their lives for the betterment of the populace. They will blame you, say, are you alone? So to the party, we are talking about 2 parties now in the parties. So if they could reduce the number of parties to like maximum of 5 parties, then we can see some affiliations here and there. But when everything is split now, the 2 big ones that have structures on ground will continue to take the whole show. And that brings about the issue of structuring, resource control. Me in particular, I feel for us to get that resource control that can make like what you said now, we are from the South, using it right now to explore, do oil exploration, building industries, empowering Dangote and the likes in the North, because they are preparing that, okay, if we split, let's look all the resources from the South, from Lagos State in particular, apart from the South, and use it to build the structures, economic structures in the North. So thereafter, if you want to go, you can go. That's why you see some people are now projecting that if we are doing restructuring, it should take 25, 35 years. In other words, give us room so that we will have developed, and then we can say to hell with you. So we need some people who will be very pragmatic and dramatic and ready to lay their lives down in this country to get things moving. We should not leave it for the rich class like Igboho, whose education exposure will not allow them to be articulate in their species. It is being inability to make their speeches straightforward that has made the government to pick holes in all they are doing now and using it to threaten them and punish them and using them as scapegoats. Meanwhile, the people carrying AK-47, killing our people in the Southwest, in Imeko and the rest, are going scot-free. So thank you, so that other people will be able to contribute. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much, Captain Alex. Those points are well noted also, and we will see what to do about them. Let me see Kofo Koka. You had lifted up your hands, and we are willing to hear your comments, Kofo. Kofo Koka, please unmute yourself.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Pastor Ituah, for leading this. I want to commend everyone also who's been a participant. Just by even organizing this forum, I think we've already begun to take action. Some are little steps, some will be big steps, but just even committing an hour to listen to the forum is also taking action. But as to what we can do to make Nigeria the country we want to see, I think the problems you highlighted this afternoon are so numerous. Are we able to realistically tackle social issues, economic issues, and political issues all in the same time? Could we have some suggestions for what can we do in the short term? We've listened to cultural practices, the gentleman from, I think, River State. We've listened to, at least the ones I've participated, reconciliation from past thoughts, politics, terrorist and insecurity issues. Which of these can we realistically take on a short term and long term? Can we realistically form a political party this year and have a candidate next year? So I just want us to be really strategic in saying, listing what we can do and which ones are the short-term goals that we want to achieve. For example, I don't know, I'm just guessing. Can we form a party in the 5 or 6 months that are left in this year? Can we aim to have a candidate for next year? Because the election is 2023, right? Can we aim, to build bridges also with other people, because it's going to be difficult for about 100 or 200 of us to get all these things done. So I think one of the things we should bear in mind also is building coalition and bridges with other people who can help to make sure we realize the goals that we set. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much. Those are some very good points. Okay. Do we have enough time? Can we form a political party? And who can we network with and build bridges with? I think we'll note all that, and then we'll see what to do about that. I think another hand that is up is Ituah. Ituah, please, let's hear you.
Good afternoon, everybody. I think in addition to what the last caller has said, first of all, Pastor, I want to say thank you for the background you've given us, some of which I'd also sort of read up on. I think it's a good background for us to use as a platform. My take is that, and I said this at some other time when we had one of these sessions, but to move it forward, I think my take is that we should continue to be the movement that we are. I think one of the biggest advantages, or the two of the strongest advantages we will have and should aim to have, are the numbers, which will also equal to the finances or the funding. I think it's going to be a painstaking journey, but it's not a journey that can be done and can be achieved. We may not be able to be the party in place in 2023, that's fine, but we shouldn't stop, we shouldn't let that stop us. What we can do for 2023 for the baby steps or the small steps is to put, to support those people that we know we have the same, we align with the same kind of ideas. So at whatever level they are, even if it's at local levels, to start to build on that. But I think our goal really should be towards beyond 2023, which is more realistic. Get the numbers. And in getting the numbers, I really do think the grassroots, we really need to, I think I said this before, if we can get different cells, and these different cells can be of at whatever number of groups of cells, and as multiply them and replicate them all over the place. And we talk to the grassroots. I know that people are fed up enough, even the people who are taking the bag of rice or the 10,000 naira or the 2,000 naira, whatever, even they are fed up. But because people are hungry, is the here and now. But if we go there realistically and speak to the grassroots, whatever cell forms that we are, and then tell them, like I said before, we're not going to give you rice, we're not going to give you 2,000 naira. Let's reason this out together. Let's speak about it. This is what's going to happen. This is what is this. This is what is. People are not stupid anymore. There's more information, thankfully, because of social media. So I do think that we should concentrate on building the numbers, which also equals to the finances. We will get it. We will get there. Other countries it wasn't an overnight thing. So even if we don't do it, we can say we're only 200 or 500, but there are thousands of like-minded people. I speak to people, particularly about this this session that goes on, and a lot of them, some of them in politics, and they say, I don't want to rock the boat for themselves and all of that. And so it burns me, and I think, where are your values? And I don't mean that, I don't want to sound as though I'm being judgmental, but at some point, we're all going to have to, plus that market woman and those young million boys, everybody's going to have to sit down and say, oh, wait a minute, it's true. So I will take the 2 naira, but this time I'm going to vote properly. But we have to inform, we have to educate, and it's going to take a lot, even if it's to do with cartoons, if it's going to do with media, all sorts of things. But I think we should concentrate on building the numbers and then being able to identify the few good men and women. And few meaning it could be 1,000, it could be 200 people, whatever, it could be 5 people, but the few good men and women that are willing to make the sacrifice. Nigeria is not going to change if we don't make that sacrifice. And sometimes, God forbid it, it might take the shooting of a gun. Our children did it during the NSAS. So we should get to a point where we're willing to sacrifice and say, whatever that sacrifice will mean, in whatever color, whatever shade. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I please ask some people to mute their mics, please? Please mute your mic, please, if you are not called. Yeah, she did say we really have to start to get the numbers. We have to go to the grassroots, and we have to take what we're trying to do very, very seriously. Can I please ask Jumoke Akin-Taylor, please, to unmute herself and make her comments? Jumoke, please.
Good evening, sir. Thank you so much for this forum and the opportunity for us to really dialogue on how to move forward. And I'm going to just, I have a different perspective. We keep talking about leadership. Can we really have leaders without followers? Have we bought into what the leadership is really doing? Are we willing participants with all that's going on in Nigeria? I mean, maybe because of hunger, right? And the quote that I always bring up is, the only thing necessary for evil to triumph is for good men to do nothing. Yes, you're doing a forum like this, and I thank you. But can we really rise? Can people continue to give of themselves for the betterment of the nation? Can we think more nationally as opposed to regionally or ethnic or tribally? I'm just putting those things out there. For me, I think one of the necessary tools for us to change or to move forward is mindset, social reform. We need social and moral reforms. We need to be accountable. We need to take responsibility individually and collectively. We keep pointing to the leaders as the ones that, the leaders, bad leadership. And I'm not disputing that we do have bad leaders, but we've also kind of allowed ourselves to be led. We haven't resisted, whether it's mentally, we haven't resisted bad leadership. And we have become so desensitized to the evil that's going on that, some people is like, oh, well, it's just the way it is. What can we do individually to make those changes within our own sphere of influence? You are doing this. You are educating. You're not even thinking about yourself, right? In terms of how this is going to affect you personally. There are people that are going into the community and trying to help. But what is the percentage of Nigerians that think beyond themselves? Everyone is really so individualistic. It's about how they can benefit personally. People are not thinking about the larger community or the impact they can have by just doing something. Dr. Akilu came on the platform, I think was last week, and she spoke about the things that were happening in the Northeast. And she and her sister, 2 women, Northern women, decided to get up and make changes, and they have impacted that region. So can we begin to look at what is in our hands? What are we able to do to kind of influence our own circle of influence? And I'm not talking about just giving people food and bags of rice and, paying you. It's about treating people with respect and value. The list of our citizens, we even individually, we don't even value like the people that help us, our maids or our gardeners or our gate men. We treat them, like less than human. So why shouldn't the leaders do the same? If the people that we're leading, we're doing the same thing those leaders at the top are doing within our own small fish pond, we are exhibiting the same character. So how can we change? How can we expect good to come out if we as Nigerians do not change individually? And that's just my own contribution. We should look inward. We should look at ourselves and begin to make those changes. There are people that will tell you that they do not bribe for anything. because that's just their own stand. They are not going to contribute to the ills of the nation by being corrupt or by adhering to corrupt practices. What are some of those things that we can do to resist all this evil by standing against this? I don't want to keep using the word evil because it's like I'm just being overly religious, but all the bad that is happening, we have control over that. So what are some of the steps that we can take individually, and then we move on? Political parties, they have an issue, but it's people that form these political parties, and it's Nigerians that form these political parties. So that's just what I wanted us to I just wanted to throw that out there. We need to get to the root cause of what the problem is, not really just that chipping the top of the tree and thinking that that's going to solve our problem. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Jumoke. Thank you very much. We need to really try and get to the root cause of the problem. I'm also hoping really that we can rise up from this session with a few actionable points, a few things that are doable, a few logs that we can move, a few mountains that we can push, and see how to really help to change the dynamic of this. I'm going to be asking Elder Adebanjo. I saw your hands up. The hands are down now. I don't know if you've changed your mind or your question has been, or your comment has been spoken to. You had actually raised your hands up before. You still want to talk, or should I move on to the next person? Okay, let me move on to the next person. Francis Odubekun, please. Please unmute yourself.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Pastor. My contribution is that from my standpoint, I think the only thing that makes us as Nigerians exceptional is our population. We have a vast population. Every country talks a good game about its own people and what they have done in other conditions, yada, yada, yada. But I think what truly and without question makes Nigeria unique and separate is the vast population. So I commend this platform for giving younger people, and in particular women, a voice. The women include, well, they are numerous, but some that stand out in my mind are Madame Oloko and also Dr. Akilu, that the previous speaker had referred to, who spoke last week, I think. So, and also this is clearly the case because women are the majority, not only in this country, but all over the globe. So by bringing them in, then we have an opportunity to turn the tide. I also agree with what the previous speaker said, that we shouldn't focus that much on our present leaders. We should focus on ourselves as a people. Where do we want to go as a people? We see people who are driving on the wrong way of the road. We sometimes even do it ourselves, and we think it's a joke. These are all the things that tear at the corners of society. So anyway, getting back to the youth question, how will we bring in the youth? And everybody talks about this, about how youthful the population is in African countries in general, and in Nigeria in particular. How do we bring them in? Certainly, I was listening to a previous speaker, I think it was Mr. Pam, and I was also fascinated when he was talking about the Uputa panel. But later on, I was thinking, actually, if I was talking to my daughter and I was talking about what happened during the Uputa panel, I could imagine her asking me, what year was that? And if I told her, she said, well, I wasn't born then.
Hello?
So, hello?
Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, yeah. So, again,
Did we lose him? Okay, Francis, you are muted. You have to unmute.
Yes, I was.
Yeah, sorry.
That's all right. Well, I don't know if everything I was saying didn't come through, or up until a certain point.
Up until a certain point, you're talking about what do we do about our something. You had said that his daughter.
Yeah, my daughter, who was born before the Ituah channel sat. So, what may be fascinating to us probably has absolutely no.
You've muted again. You've muted again.
Yep, I see. I don't know why it keeps happening. Anyway, and how are we going to speak to those things that are relevant to the youth, which are not things that would necessarily be relevant to us? And the youth, because between the youth and the women, that is where I think our salvation lies. If we can bring their hearts and their minds with us as a movement, then no matter, as I think you said, rightly said, the ancient regime, how many of them? They're probably 1,000 or probably tops 2,000, and yet between the women and youth, we're talking about millions and tens of millions of voters potentially. So I think that is where we should be going. We should be focused on where are the numbers to maximize our advantage.
Okay, thank you very much, Francis. Well noted. Focus on the ladies and focus on the youth and see how we can get them into some kind of powerful movement that will take certain decisions and so on and so forth. Chief Falugi had also made a very, very interesting comment, which I didn't take lightly at all. How is it possible that we can ensure that a lot of the present actors or previous actors, especially those who had no record to show for their activity, are not allowed into the fray at this point in time? It's almost like a vote of no confidence on virtually all of them. Are we going to be able to do this? And are we going to be able to push it through one way or the other? And what means do we can we engage to make that happen? I'm going to be listening now to Humphrey Oseni, my brother who's speaking from South Africa, and let us hear his perspective on this matter. Thank you, Humphrey. The floor is yours.
Good evening, everybody. And thank you, Ituah. It's a privilege to be here. I personally believe that leadership is very important. If you've read history, Europe was as corrupt, if not more corrupt than Africa for centuries. But when there was revolution and change, Europe is what it is today. When Idi Agbon was in power, people were driving on the right side of the road. Rawlings brought change to Ghana. Rwanda right now, the present president has brought change. So no matter what we say about the people being bad, where there's no checks and balance, people will misbehave. Power corrupts. The same Nigerians who misbehave in different ways, when they're in foreign countries, they obey the laws. Why? Because there's a rule of law. And there's no rule of law in Nigeria because we don't have leadership. So I believe we must go for the leadership. The right people need to rule this country. And I like what some speakers have spoken about, going for the grassroots. The major parties, they focus a lot and do all kinds of things to manipulate the grassroots. Even though the grassroots people, the masses, the youths know that they are voting for the wrong people. Why do they still vote for the wrong people? Because they don't believe there can be change. As long as people don't really believe there can be change, they won't make the right decisions. So effort must be made, consistent effort must be made to get the youth and the grassroots to believe that change can come. and they should vote right. Many Nigerians don't really believe that they are voting. Some don't even vote at all because they believe it's just a waste of time. So we must make efforts to convince the grassroots, the youth, the masses that they can make a difference, that their vote counts. And they must, secondly, they must be made to see that there is opportunity, their lives can be better. What I've learned in life, people can never be motivated unless they see the benefits. You can't motivate anybody to consistently take an action, to take a good action, unless they see it's going to be beneficial for them. So the grassroots must be made to know that they can make a difference, that their votes count. And it's not just telling them once or twice, because for many years they are used to that mindset. Somebody talked of change of mindset. We must change their mindset. They are used to the fact that you do not make any difference. Nothing will really change in Nigeria. Nigeria is getting worse. They must be made to believe Nigeria can be better. And I like what the Bible says in Romans 10, verse 17, that faith comes by hearing and hearing. In the original Greek, is hearing and hearing and hearing. So repetition produces deep and lasting impressions. We must do all we can to make them hear the same thing over and over again. Nigeria can change. Nigeria can be better. Leadership can change. And like one speaker said, we need to rally around one candidate. We need to try to get as many people to rally around a candidate that has a good vision, that believes what we believe. So I believe change is possible, and I know change is coming to Nigeria actually, but we have to work at it. Faith without works is dead. We have to put all effort, persistent, consistent effort, look for all the strategies we can. Somebody talked of like cell groups, whatever we can do, social media. I believe social media is a tool. Europe had reformation because printing came into existence. So people could get the Bible, people could read for themselves, and they could get change. That's why autocratic dictatorial governments don't like to invest in education, because they know if people are enlightened, they will not vote for them. And that's how it was in the Dark Ages. They made sure the masses didn't have any education. So we need to educate the youth. We need to have rallies, outreach, all kinds, whatever way. We have to put a lot of focus on getting the grassroots, and I believe change is possible.
All right. Thank you very much, my brother, Pastor Francis, Reverend Francis, mobilizing the grassroots, educating people, investing in educating and informing them. Theodore Awani, you are on next. Please unmute yourself and let's hear from you.
Hello, Pastor. Thank you so much. Hello, everybody. I hope you're all well. I'm going to be very quick, but the things I want to talk about. So, Pastor, we've been listening to many of these sessions for a while now. I'm actually glad that you have this session on. Now, in my view, Nigeria, as Nigeria citizens, we've completely lost our way, all of us. And I know we talk about the leaders, which has just been reiterated. But the problem is not just the leaders, it's us individually. So we need a complete overhaul. Now, a complete transformation. So how are we going to do that? For a lot of us, I'm 50 something, so we've got a few more years, but not as much as the ones that we've used. But it is a great country, and we need to do something to bring it back to life. So we need to look at training. We need to look at development. How do we develop our people? What do we need to train them on? We also need to look at, actually, what does it mean to be a good Nigerian citizen? Do we actually know what those words say? What it means to be a good Nigerian citizen? We need to go back to see if it doesn't translate, then we need to be doing something to actually highlight what our objectives are as a community, and what we're striving to be as a Nigerian citizen. We need to go back to the core values and highlight them. And these core values and beliefs will need to be embedded into any form of training or development that is being set up. But also that needs to go alongside communication and engagement. So we're having a lot of these conversations on here, but only us know about it. There's so many people who don't know it's going on. You know, the person in Lamanton. Hello?
Sorry.
Yeah. Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, I interrupted.
Yeah. Okay. So the person in Lamanton or the person in Ojuelegba or Ikoyi who's just maybe driving a bus does not know. Now, these are the people walking the streets. There's the people who need to be called in, you know, to say, look, what are your values? This is what you need to exhibit. This is what you need to show on a daily basis. This is what is going wrong. How can you make changes? Whether we're going to set up stalls, you know, in strategic positions where people can just come in, drop-in centers where those conversations can take place. And then again, we need to try and build leaders. You know, unfortunately, and I know, and it's really bad because we do have some great people in Nigeria. And how have I found out that we have some real intelligent, great people in Nigeria from the sessions that you've done? You know, we have real intelligent people in governance in Lagos. You know, the governor of Lagos State, you know, or is it the assistant governor? They're brilliant people that you brought on who really know their onions, who really know what they're doing. So how come it's going wrong? Because they're good people, you know. And I hate to say it, even the governor of Katsina, who governor of Kaduna, I think he was, who came on, he was also very, very, very good. But there's something wrong. So again, we need to see how we can, you know, build leaders and go back to what these values are, what the beliefs are, what we want them to emulate, what needs to be. And another thing I've noticed about Nigerian leaders is how dare you ask them a question? The minute you ask them a question, it's as if, you know, how dare you talk to me like that? Who the heck? Well, we voted you in, sir. You know, so there's still some behaviors that really need to be addressed. So building good leaders, building good mentors, actually going back to what our values are as a Nigerian citizen, what behaviors, and then we need to hold each other accountable at every point in time, hold people accountable so that we start to build the right culture, so that the right culture will start to be embedded. So we need to go back to the grassroots. We need to go back to the baseline.
Like this.
And
the
then
longer you stay like this, the more dollar you get.
Tony, please mute your mic.
And then again, I spoke about communication and engagement, which is good on different levels, but it needs to happen on different levels because it's happening you're doing these meetings regularly. That's good. And I'm sure there are a few meetings happening in a few other places as well. That's good. But maybe all those different meetings happening all over need to come together, you know, and we need a real plan, you know, and real communication and engagement plan that will say, right, this is the plan and this is what we need to follow. So people like yourself who are very influential, people like, you know, the magazine journalist who's also very influential, I can't remember his name now, Daily Momodu, quite a few people who are having these meetings around the place. Get them together, get a plan, get it out there. This is what we want. This is what we need. This is what we need to show. But then the most important thing, which I think we are missing, is getting a leader to rule Nigeria, getting another party. We all know it takes money. We need money. Now, we're not going to use Pastor Ituah's money, are we? Even if Pastor Ituah wants to run or somebody else wants to run, a lot of the time it's not them. If whatever money they have, it will run out unless you're a Jagaban. Now, what we need to do, there's so many people, so many, unbelievable, and we need to do the maths of people who are in the diaspora, including myself. Pastor Ituah, I can certainly afford some money into the pot. If everybody starts to, we say, right, okay, this is what we want to do. Everybody in the diaspora, wherever you are, we need to contribute some money. There needs to be we're losing a great opportunity there. At least everybody will have 20 pounds. Trust me, everybody at some point, you know? And by the time we do the maths and know, okay, how many people do we have in England? How many people do we have in America? How many people do we have in Canada? Wherever it is, because people's hearts are bleeding. Because even though they're not there, or some may not want to go back, they still have family there. We have people there. We have people that are like us there. A nation that can go out there, kill people, cut off their nose or their private parts, and in front of other people who are still going to be cut, and then be calling an Alaji over the phone and say, Alaji, say, now 3 million, no, 3 million, 3.5 million. We've completely lost our way. And again, we will be fooled if we think that it's only those set of people who are kidnapping. No, it's all over. People are doing it as little business. Little business. Just sorry, kidnap. Let's quickly. At the end of the day, they gave us 500. Okay, the whatever people they want 1 million. We're not even asking for 1 million. We just want 500,000. It's crazy. We have lost our way completely. So that's what I have. Thank you. I'm Theodore Awani, and I'm done speaking.
Thank you, Theodore. I really thank you for those comments. We really need to raise some money, and I hope that you can be one of the arrowheads for that, especially in the UK where you live. We might need a bit more than 20 pounds per person, but if you can say 20.
Pastor, I just said that. By the time we sit down and we do the maths, people can obviously afford a lot more.
I'm sure.
On a regular basis.
You in particular, I afford a lot more.
Amen.
Okay, so to find a means of doing that, we probably have to register something somewhere so the money can be swept in there. And
and Pastor, sorry to cut you. You're an accountant as well, so these things will be easy for you. You know how to. It needs to be done. It needs to be done. We're missing a big, and also for that, we need visibility, we need accountability, and we will need regular communication in terms of how much the pot is being in the pot and how much, what is being spent and how much is being spent for, or what is being used for. People will jump at it.
All right, no problem. You will get definitely accountability, a budget, and we'll spend to budgets. And hopefully the money would even make an impact. At the very least, you'll impact the life of a few people, and you would even have made a bit of change in those lives, because some of it will definitely go into empowerment and developing people, educating people, people's skills. We might even be thinking to run our own government, which is something we should consider. If people won't do what they're supposed to do, we can sort of do a bit of self-help here and there and make sure that we can lift up the standards of people. Can I please ask Mr. Taiwo Kayode to make his comments? And after that, we'll take Charles Iyore, Uncle Charles. Taiwo, please go ahead.
Yes. Oh, good afternoon. Calling from Houston. I just want to first of all respond to one of the speakers that talked about the large population size we have in Nigeria. And the comment I have is that a large population size is not necessarily an asset unless you have the leadership to galvanize the populace and set the tone. So when we look at Nigeria today, we have the highest number of school-age children out of school. We have over 80 million people living below a poverty line of $2 per day. So we shouldn't be stuck with trying to keep a large population. Singapore has made much more progress than Malaysia. Yeah, it's smaller. So, don't let's be stuck about population. We have enough people in the South and the Southwest that can form a viable nation. So population can be an advantage only if you have the right leadership. And then my second point is, how did the Holocaust happen with the whole world watching? There's a quote, he said, first they came for the socialists, I did not speak out because I was not a socialist. Then they came for the trade unionists, I did not speak out because I was not a trade unionist. Then they came for the Jews, I did not speak out because I was not a Jew. Then they came for me and there was no one left to speak for me. So they came for Ken Saro-Wiwa, we did not speak out. They came for Nnamdi Kanu, they did not speak out. Now they've gone for Sunday Igboho. So it's pertinent that we all speak with one voice. We shouldn't leave it until we are personally directly involved. It's important that we speak with a voice, that we are vocal, because the northern people, they have a strategy to dominate and they don't have an agenda for progress. So that's the problem. So I'm just encouraging us in whatever way we can use social media. Sunday Igboho is one of us. I've not lived in Nigeria since I finished college there, but I live in the diaspora, but we have a passion for Nigeria. And what I see is many of us, until things affect us directly, we don't have a passion. It's as if it's a third party thing. So please, let's understand how things work. The oppressor never gives up power voluntarily. It has to be wrestled away from him. And the more we keep quiet because we see Sunday Igboho, so as we isolate him, we isolate Nnamdi Kanu, we isolated Ken Saro-Wiwa, the oppressor will continue to have its way. So let's not be docile. Let's continue to speak with one voice. We can be influencers all over the world with social media. Let's treat this as if it's our brother, and he is our brother that's now facing challenges. And what it stands for is something we can all align with. So that's what I have to say. Please, it's not about just an individual. It's about setting a nation free, and the Lord will guide us. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Taiwo. That's very well spoken. And I think that's easy for all of us to do and take away. We should all speak out. We should all speak out. We really are not speaking out enough. And honestly, people are very, very frightened because the government agencies, the SSS, the police, the military, the people who give them instructions, they don't hold any captives. You can see what the CIA did. I don't know when you joined the platform, did to America, did to Ghana, did to Lumumba, Patrice Lumumba, and even Nelson Mandela, and so on and so forth. You can see what happened to the young children who were at the toll gates for EndSARS. You can see what has happened to Sunday Igboho. I read his letter, a very passionate letter that he wrote, that what have I done that you people are after me, If you had got me in my house, you'd have said that Sunday Igboho had been killed by unknown gunmen. You came to my house at night, no search warrant, nothing. You raised the place down, you killed people in my house just because I rose up to defend people who were killing my own people. And I didn't kill anybody, he says. I didn't kill anybody, I didn't do anything. All I did was to complain and drive some people out of places where they shouldn't be. And because I have done that, you came to my house, you planted guns there, you tried to vilify me, and so on and so forth. And nobody to protect, nobody to complain. I mean, how can people go into somebody else's house and just kill people, just like that, just to frighten the man? Now the man has gone underground. Whatever he's been trying to do, he's been silenced. It's the same thing they've done to Nnamdi Kanu, same thing they've done to those children at the toll gate. Those young children, they are frightened out of their minds now. They just don't know which way to go and what to do. What started as a peaceful protest complaining about police brutality suddenly became politicized to the extent that our president says they wanted to overthrow him. Do you overthrow government by shouting at the toll gate and so on and so forth? He's done coups before. He knows what he did to do a coup. So it's very, very unfortunate that honestly, the voice of the average man has been taken away. So we need quite a few brave people, very, very brave, who can actually say what they need to say. If they don't harm you physically, they will harm you economically. They will harm your business. They will harm everything around you just because you want to say what people should say. So those are the dangers that people face in Nigeria. And that's why you don't find enough people who are able to come out and speak. Maybe I'm going to ask Charles now. He's going to speak very well. We're going to hear what he has to say. And maybe what he says is going to change the world and change Nigeria. So Charles, don't be afraid. Speak your mind, okay? And let's hear you. Thank you. Please unmute yourself. You see now, he muted himself deliberately. He doesn't want them to hear him. Unmute yourself. We can't read your lips.
Hello, Pastor Ituah.
Bless you, bro. Bless you.
You're asking for brave people. You are one such brave person. And I'm happy to say that our discussions about the difficulties of our country predate this platform. We even had a WhatsApp call before this platform also started. And like I said when you started, I said beginning at all meant that half of the job was already done. This is not about them and us. This is about the commanding heights of idiocy. And I'm sure that's why James Doddridge, who is the Minister for Africa, can come and have a good laugh at us and say what he said about us never being able to get out of it. They gave us power, political power. You abused it. Our women went to the shops, to the marketplace to drive everybody out. And everybody then realized that if you're not in politics, you couldn't do well. So all the thugs went into politics. Deregulated the economy and gave banking licenses to Nigerians. It did well. The processes themselves are now better. The internet reports and the ICT is fantastic. But the banking sector is a fraud, starting from the central bank itself, all the way through the ministries that don't produce anything. Half of what we produce goes to waste. The church leaders are dishonest. The people who run justice system are talking about lowering, no justice is delivered. But today is not for us to begin to regret about what has happened. We need to know clearly that of all the three planks that run life, which is the philosophy, what do you believe in? The politics, which is the using of power, and the economics. We fail first on the politics, we disgrace ourselves on the economics, and now they're going to soil our land with distorting philosophy. I'm not against people deciding to come into different countries. What I like to ask, and I've asked these questions many times, there are 774 local governments in Nigeria. They all have local government chairmen. Can anyone please tell me which of them is working and acting fit for purpose? Can anyone please tell me, the Obas, the Obis, the Sultans, and the Emirs, can anyone tell me who has gone beyond carrying robes around the place and costume show? But those are the issues. And when you begin to see a replay of that kind of videos in South Africa, in Ethiopia, and even to a certain extent in Ghana, then you realize that all we've really had is administrative solutions. Some strong man who has decided to correct our foibles. I would did for the West, for the Northerners, Sadana did for them, for the Easterners, Okpara did for them. The rest of them were just a bunch of people lining their pockets. If we do not correct our financial system the way it is, we're hiding to nothing. You cannot use the impact economy. If there's so much money in circulation and nothing is coming out of that money in circulation, there's a problem. If 60% of the food you produce goes to waste, then there's a problem. If all we're talking about is how to fly abroad, then there's a problem. If every time you come to Lagos is worse and you saw it 5 or 10 years ago, there's a problem. We are not growing. We are stuck in one stop. Ituah, you've done a great job, and I've told this many times. The momentum is here now. We must build on it. These are my points. We need to get together and take on the local government chairman, all of them. And the way Ituah went, despite all the risks that he had, and stood in front of everybody on NSAS, everyone else was turned away. Those are the things we need to do. Not blaming them and us. Because when you look beyond them, you will see us there. These guys are morphing consistently to deliver injustice on a scale never known. We're manufacturing poverty on an industrial scale. And the world is frightened that if it cracks in Nigeria, the whole of Africa will be subsumed. Thank you, Ituah, for what you're doing. We need to face those points squarely. We need to get the central bank governor and the bank MDs, let them tell me why they took Ighodalo to court, why they drew away 3 bank MDs. Why is it that our salaries, our take-home pay doesn't get us home? Why is it that our currency is next to nothing? Those are the key issues. In England, the system is run by lawyers. All the mortgages that you see, the lawyers keep the money. All the offshore accounts that you see, the lawyers keep the money. Even when you do an offer in stock exchange or private equity or in the London Stock Exchange, the lawyers keep the money. Can we trust our lawyers to keep our money? Can there be a law society? Those for me are the issues. Not bank MDs who are richer than the banks that they run. Or insurance MDs who are bigger than insurance companies that they run. A situation where it's so badly distorted. Somebody started a pension firm. The assets are growing so much now, it's unbelievable. Yet, no infrastructure is built. For me, it's embarrassing. For me, it's embarrassing. No matter where you go in the world, you can't even say you're from Nigeria. Because really, what we're doing is unbelievable. That's where we are. I'm happy that I told you this many times. And remember the story I told you about the changing of popes. People might wear cassocks. People might wear all kinds of things there. They're basically dishonest, which is why when you change the leaders, all of those dishonesty that's beneath them comes to play. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Charles. Thank you very much. Those points are well noted. How do we get closer to the chairman of our local governments? How do we influence the obas and the sultans to be less of costume showers, but more of people who add value to their environment and take responsibility for a few things? And how do we ensure there's fairness and equity in the place, and that they don't take Aswe to court? I will remember that, and I will tell Aswe that they say you don't want them to take him to court. Okay, jolly good. We're making progress. And we need to begin to think of rounding up. Temitope Ayedun, let me hear you. And I'm sure you have the solution to our situation. Speak.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Pastor. So I really appreciate this forum. I'm hoping you can hear me.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the speakers that have spoken. I'd like to echo the person that said that we need a change of mindset. I'd like to add to that aside from the change of mindset, we need to speak differently about what we believe. So we believe that Nigeria is going to be better. We always hear Americans say, God bless Nigeria. It's something, I'm saying, God bless America. It's not something that is very common in Nigeria. It's always about how bad it is, we understand the reality, but we need to begin to speak more about what our hopes and aspirations are for our country. That is on one side. Now, the issue about changing our mindset, I think we need to be more truthful to ourselves. And of course, that involves the focus on the family. If everybody here decided to stand for the truth, decided to stand for a better Nigeria, what we are saying is what we are going to be saying. Because both at the grassroots and at the higher echelons of society, we have people here that are in their sphere of influence. So it's about what are we doing with what we have to make the changes that we want to see. For instance, how many of us have this meeting on our status? How many of us, when they talk to us about Nigeria, we are the ones that will say Nigeria is going to get better, there's hope? Are we in those group of people? So if we can't start from ourselves, then there's the issue of talking about chairmen and all of that. Is important, but we need to start from where we are. So there are people in public service that are here that don't see anything wrong in corruption. I'm hoping they're not on this platform. But for instance, let me just give an example. I was at the airport, I was coming into the country, and it was while I was at the till at immigration, I realized that my passport had expired. So the gentleman there said, I need to see another officer. That took me to another officer. I ended up at the till of a young man called Garba. Garba said, you're going to have to pay $150 to get an emergency document to enter the country. I said, okay. He said he's going to get somebody that was going to come and pick me from there to take me to their office upstairs. They're going to give me a document. They're going to stamp it so that I can enter into Nigeria. I said, okay. Next thing he said, or you can give me something small and I will let you go. And then I said, I am very sorry. I'm not one of those that can give you anything. The only thing I can offer you is prayer, because I am one of those that want to see a better Nigeria. He now said, oh, really? That's very strange. You're one of very few people that actually believe that there can be a better Nigeria. Then he goes on to say he wishes that there is a better Nigeria. Then goes on to tell me that he has attended institutions outside the country. So he has an understanding that some things are not right. Anyway, long story short, after the chat back and forth, he said, you can go. So I left. So sometimes it's not about people not knowing the right thing to do. It's about the fact that they don't have people around them that are going to tell them when they are doing the wrong thing. They are people that are not willing to enforce the law and order in the society as well. So the issue about the justice system, I don't even know where to start that one from. But I believe that there must still be truthful people in the justice system in Nigeria. But unless that sector of society is gotten right, it will be very difficult to sort out other sectors, because who is maintaining law and order? Who is judging the cases? Is it people whose hands are already soiled because they are not willing to tell the truth? We are still in a country where the attorney general of a country died and nobody was taken to court. It just disappeared. He just disappeared into thin air and nothing happened in our own country. So when things happen like that and it affects even people that are high up and things are swept under the carpet, many times even the people at the bottom feel that there is no hope, that where do they start from? But to my mind, I believe that we would see a better Nigeria, but there are steps we have to take. We have to be willing to say the truth even when it hurts. We have to be willing to stand for the truth even when it is not convenient for us. That is where we can start to make the change. We can make the change in our homes. We can make the change in our offices. We need to be willing to stand for public office at any opportunity that we are given. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jumoke. And I hope that you are going to volunteer yourself to run for office. You sound like you're from Ekiti State or Ifewara or somewhere like that. So we're looking for local government chairmen there and deputy governors and governors. So please rise up and be counted and be part of the process. You know, another problem in Nigeria, people not wanting to get involved. Everybody has to get involved. It's a crisis situation. So are you ready to get involved, Jumoke?
Absolutely. I'm happy to get involved. I even want to come with all my friends back to Nigeria. We have to get involved together.
Where are you now?
I'm in the UK.
Start to tell all your friends that
yes, they know. It's on my WhatsApp status. It's everywhere. They are even abusing me. Good Nigerian. You're the only one that wants to see Nigeria good. I say yes. We are in it together.
And so tell them, and I'm going to ask you to work with Theodore to see how we can also raise some money to make this thing happen.
Okay, sir.
All right. Thank you, Jumoke. God bless you. David Faye, I think. It's your turn.
Hello, my pastor. How are you, sir?
I'm fine, David.
Sorry, I've not been around for a very long time now. I left Nigeria December, and I'm in London right now since last year, December, and I will be coming back soon. And I want to be part of the things that will change Nigeria.
Okay.
Majority of the people have said so many things, and I mean, it's fantastic, it's great. But what plans do we have? The one thing that will first of all affect Nigerians is transparency. Where I am right now in SS in the UK, I mean, the council, the amount of money spent every year is being given to every house to know that we in Nigeria. I work with, ask them questions, I talk with them, we exchange views, but they have this mind that if you don't give them money, they are not going to do anything. Nothing. So about I have no clue about using. I was among those that trained the hell of it. I trained them to be able to use technology, to not be afraid of technology. And here we are right now. Everybody's on computers. What training is to be created for them or for anybody? No, he wants to be a politician so that he can steal. He can steal. These politicians, they have accumulated loads of money. How are we going to compete with those type of people? That is the problem. Now, if you go down to the roots, which is so very, very important, the roots are the most important thing, which is what the politicians are using. We don't even know who they are. In their house, they can't even rule. They are not leaders in their house. So how do we bring them in to be leaders? We have no clue about who they are. Maybe they go on to meet one herbalist somewhere before they come down. So there are lots of things that is wrong with my country called Nigeria. And yet we are not speaking up. Those that came out at the Lekki thing, they created a what's it called? An Instagram. Is it not Instagram? No, the other one that looks like WhatsApp.
Twitter.
There are 4,000 people. I had to join just to see what these youths are saying. I had to join just to listen and see. They call themselves the NTP, National Transformation Party. And if you see and hear what they say, you know these people are all out there. But I'm looking at it, there is no money. Trust me, before you can get 100 million every now and then. But we need to move forward. So we need to support those youths. We need to take them out of the thinking, the idea that Nigeria will not work. We need to make sure that, yes, we have money. Local government, yes, let's have transparency. Let's have a youth take over the place and let's see what he can do. But now the youth is already corrupted because he believes only in money. So where are we going to? Start from? That is the question. This is my first time of being here to do, or anything I can add to the movement. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, David. And I look forward to having you back in Nigeria very soon. Funlola Adedayo. Elder Adare had put up their hands and they've brought the hands down. I don't know if they've changed their minds. If they have not, they should let me know and raise their hands up again. Funlola Adedayo, please. Unmute yourself and let's hear you.
Good evening, everybody, and good evening, Pastor Ituah. I just want to agree with everything everybody has said, but I just wanted to add a little bit more. More than the mindset, the speech, I think we really need to infiltrate the system. It's not just the leaders. Take, for instance, a federal minister. If he becomes a federal minister, he has to deal with the whole civil service, the PAMSEC, everybody. And if the people he has to deal with there are corrupt, no matter how good the minister is, he's not going to be able to perform very well. And I think that's the major problem we have in Nigeria. We have a few good people, but they're in the minority such that their efforts are being frustrated. So we need to really rise up, not only the council, civil service, every area. I went to my local council, for example, local government, the caliber of people there. I mean, I can't even understand. And I was like, how are these people going to take us forward? So we need to just infiltrate the whole system with good people, because if the good people are just a few, they can't really make a difference. That's just my own contribution. So we have to leave our own making money aside and go into government, governance, civil service, every area possible. That's my own little contribution.
Thank you. Funola, where are you based?
I don't even know where I'm based at the moment. I'm currently in the UK, but I'm looking to move back home finally.
Okay, so when you come back home, please come and see us so that we can work together to see what sort of ways we can make some changes in the civil service. You're very right about what you said about the civil service. In fact, most of the time you find that it's the civil servants that first of all direct the political leaders and show them the loopholes and the areas where they can corruptly enrich themselves.
Yes.
Even frustrates the political leader who does not want to toe the line, because the corruption is a bit endemic and
endemic. It's so bad.
Is entrenched in the civil service. They survive on corruption and not doing their work as they should. So I think that's a very, very classic one. But indeed, if we had a good leadership in the political class, then they could work on the civil service. That's what Lee Kuan Yew did in Singapore. He just made sure that he attracted the best of the best into the political class, into the civil service, and caused a change. And that's all. That's what we need to think about.
So we are still saying the same thing. We need to go into the civil service, even people like us.
So the civil service awaits you, Funola. Okay, so don't run away. Right. I think we also have somebody else who wants to speak very quickly. Kenny Orororo, I saw you lift your name up. There's still the form to join the movement on the platform. Please share it with other people in your circle of influence so that they can all sort of register, and invite a minimum of 5 people to the platform next week. We're going to have a very, very interesting Nigerian talk to us on some strategies to win the battle and win the war. Strategies to win the battle and win the war. Please fill this form so that we can reach you and so that we can begin to do some actionable things. If Ken is still there, I'll take his comment. If he's not, we'll start to begin to think of how we are going to round up. Elder Dari, if you're still there and you want to ask your question, I'll be happy to take it right now. Otherwise, I will summarize what we have discussed today and then see how we can get some actionable points. Kenny, are you still there or you've gone? Elder Dari, I saw you lift up your hands. I know that Jimmy Agbaje was on the platform. Maybe you will allow me to put him on the spot and we can get 1 or 2 comments from him, having been a serious participant in this process in the past. What really do you think, Jimmy, if you're still there and you can unmute yourself and tell us what, from your own perspective, you've been inside this fray before, you're a private person, you're a citizen of Nigeria, you're an experienced person. Do you have your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 practical steps that we can use to cause a change?
Well, thank you very much, Pastor. I think what I would say is that whatever we're talking about, different ideas have come up. It's still a democracy, except you don't want to run a democracy. A democracy remains a game of numbers. Now, we're concerned, we're angry, but concern and anger, I'm sorry, are not going to be enough to bring about the kind of change we want. We need to be more than angry. We need to be very angry. It's when you are very angry that you're ready to step out. If you're angry and just concerned, you talk and talk and talk. And so we need to have a leadership of very angry followers, let me put it like that are ready to create that necessary positive epidemic in the angry people of Nigeria. So we're looking for a new leadership, not as presently constituted, but amongst the followership. And they're the ones going to give direction. Let me give an example. We have local, because some people are talking about local government and all. Lagos has local government elections on Saturday. I'm not sure that, I mean, if we take a survey of this platform, I'm not sure we'll get 10% of people on this platform that will say they're going out to vote. They don't even know who they're going to vote for. Now, these are some of the things that we need to look at. That leadership will be the one to sensitize the followership that, look, local government elections have come again. What are we doing about it? Can you go out and vote? It's not even about the party or anything now, but go out there and vote. Because you see, when you do go out to vote, and even when they do rig or try to rig the elections, you leave that process more angry than when you went in, and therefore more determined to bring about a change. And so I think what we first need is to get very angry leadership within the followership to say, yes, enough is enough. We're going to be strategic and we're going to move this process forward. Because I belong to a party, I don't want to, I mean, we've said this over and over again. There are some realities to politics. And for me, if you want to bring about change, especially change in the short term, except we're lucky and you have like an NSAS protest. Those were very angry people that came out for the NSAS protest. And that's why they went out. But they were able to get others to join them. You know, and that's the kind of thing that we need to bring about change in the country today. We need very angry leadership to bring to drive, to mobilize the followership. I think that's just my contribution at this stage.
But Jimmy, do you think our leadership among the followership or even the followers are angry enough in Nigeria, even as well?
I'm giving the benefit of that they are angry, but I'm saying they are not angry enough.
Yeah, I don't think we're angry enough.
And so if you're not angry, then there's not going to be change.
Yeah.
Something has to make you say, to hell with it. Enough is enough.
Yeah, yeah.
We don't have the ability to sustain anything. That's the problem, Ituah.
Yeah, but maybe part of the reason is that we're not angry enough. We haven't been enough to the wall to say, you know, the young people were pushed to the wall to a certain extent.
Yeah.
They were angry for a season. Then, like Chief, the sustainability wasn't quite there. And a few shots and a few people died, and the anger dissipated completely, you know, because they frightened us as they always do.
Yeah.
So maybe we haven't quite gotten there as a nation where we push back for change. Maybe that's part of the problem. Because very few want to take a risk. Very people want to, even those who want to take a risk, your mates and your friends will say, sure, take it easy.
Yeah.
They will do that too.
Yeah. I remember during the Abacha era, I think there was a walk from Yaba, Tai Solarin and Wole Soyinka were to lead. And my wife and myself decided we'd join the walk. And we didn't think about it. It was when we got to Yaba. And I looked at her and I said, are you going to join? I said, we are going together. And I said, okay, there are two problems. The first problem is we're going to leave our car in Yaba. We're going to walk to race course. How do we get back and pick the car? That was number one. Number two, we have young children at home. If they carry us into detention, what's going to happen? But I had a running battle with my wife to stay back and allow me to join the walk because she wanted to join also. She was angry. You know, when you are very angry, you are ready to take those risks without thinking twice. It was at the last minute that I said, two of us cannot go into this fire. You know, and that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, that you've got to be very angry to bring about the kind of change in the system that is so entrenched in our country today.
Yeah, I think you're right. That anger is not. Ashley was telling me, I don't know if it's the same work that they wanted to work. They were starting from Yaba or so. And that when it was time to walk, all the people who are shouting in the house, when you look behind him, he didn't see any of them.
Yeah, there were a few of us that finished that walk that day. With Shoyinka and with Tai Sholari. Tai Sholari died, I think, 2 days after that walk.
Oh.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Oh, yes. That's the work that they tear gas and things and things.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
So the man lost his...
You've got to be angry. You've got to be very angry.
Nigeria. Honestly. All right. We'll take the next. Thank you very much, Jimmy. That is...
Thank you.
I think you really touched a point there. As the level of our anger and our willingness to continually tolerate the unacceptable, you know, and nobody really willing to come out of their comfort zone to take on this challenge. A lot of the revolutions, the Bolshevik Revolution, the French Revolution, even the British, when they rose up against their royalty, it was deep-seated anger that helped them to overcome. So, well, let's see. We have 3 people who are going to ask questions, and then we will call it a day, and then look to have another open mic sometime in the future where we can take everybody's comments. What I'm hoping we can do is to have some actionable things here. How we're going to generate enough anger, I do not know, but we must have some actionable things going forward. So, Falila Kofoworola, please let us hear you. After you, I'll take on Samuel Dada, and then we'll close with somebody who was angry about 6 weeks ago, a lady called Ariola Oloko. She was really, really angry. And from that day till today, she's been wearing a t-shirt saying, I'm not a thug. So we'll close with Ariola, and then we'll summarize. Farida, please, the floor belongs to you.
Good evening, Pastor. I hope you can all hear me. Thank you for answering this call. This is an important thing you're doing for us as Nigerians. I'm based overseas. I'm here. I'm hungry, very hungry, because I don't want to be here.
Where are you?
Sir.
Where are you?
I'm in the United States.
Okay.
As an educationist, I believe very much in the power of education. All the speakers have spoken very well, and a lot of actionable point has been raised on this platform. We're talking about Nigerians being hungry. We're all facing gun. We're dealing with the power of the gun. Once you are gone, you are gone. You can't be part of any kind of growth again. I was watching the Ituah Nation rally in Lagos live. A gentleman, decent gentleman, walked over to the police commissioner, had a conversation. He turned around after the conversation, and the police started shooting, and they killed people. We're dealing with people we can't even call leaders. People, they're animals, and they're ready to waste. They're ready to waste any life. And I think that's part of the reluctancy that we see on the part of Nigerians. There is apathy towards what is going on. Nigerians are suffering and smiling. There's a lot of anger in the system, but instead of being angry at the right people, at the people in power, we're angry with ourselves. And the educating our minds, educating the youth, and providing them the information about this platform and what we're doing, I think is going to go a long way. As Miss Jumoke spoke very well, Miss Jumoke Koka and Miss Kofo Koka and Miss Jumoke, they mentioned registering our own political party, connecting with other people that are already in the system. I believe very much in that because we're just starting afresh. And we can raise funds. As one of the speakers said, we watched President Obama's campaign started, like play, and he raised $1 there, $10 there, here and there, and he had a lot of money to sustain the campaign. We can do that. And I continue to pray for you, Pastor Ituah, and all the speakers on the platform, that you'll be able to lead us to the to the promised land. I am willing to contribute whatever it is, that I can contribute, and continue to share the platform. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valila. So you continue to pray for me, angry prayers, okay? So that God will answer. And we're going to take you up on your offer and find a way by which we can all put some resources together and at least start a movement that will try to make some kind of change. Samuel Dada, please.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Good evening, sir. Yeah, I think Mr. Jimmy Agbaje triggered me to say something when he said that people are not very angry.
So I told you
that people are not very angry. I think people, I have two ideas for some years now that made me to believe that the only thing can make Nigeria, especially those political talks, those people problem, it's to, like, one is not realistic. Like having billions of dollars where we go to communities or local government, taking them from Nigeria to abroad just for 1 week excursion. Then we make them to see how life is. Then we now force them back to the country. I think maybe by then they can open their head and say, no, if they can have it done over there with no sunlight the way we have it here, and they produce food with no bitumen for their roads, and they have good roads, with pipe-borne water running into their houses, maybe it can trigger their anger and say, oh, this government is not doing much for us. We have to vote. And when there is election, we come out en masse. One, which is not feasible. The second thing that can provoke their anger goes to you, Pastor, sir. I want to believe if you can have about tens of your pastors coming out on Sunday and telling the public that you guys need to wake up and form, maybe you form a coalition, all of you say, this is the party we are going for. Maybe people will be hungry enough and say, no, our pastors have spoken. Let's follow this. And that may be a collective one from every pastor. Maybe that will trigger the anger. So these are the two things. Maybe one is more visible, the other is not. Now, going by the ideas, I think is okay for us. I think we need, like our woman, Mrs. Fuller, I don't know, that spoke before me. As an educationalist, I think we need to work in that area. What do I mean? We need a community cooperation. We need to go to villages where people speak their language, where we can have an agenda where we will teach our women, their children, how to live, because they have many problems that we know, the fundamental problems, where we can tell them how this problem can be solved. When we are doing that, we just do some small shots for them to bring them together and open their brains and let them realize that we are coming as a new party, new body to change this country. Maybe by then we'll be able to change the mindsets of the people, because we need to work on the mindset of the people first. And these people, they know the thugs in their areas. They know those ones that are disturbing the areas. By then they can be able to change if we can go there with ideas in order to solve this problem. I think we need to start from there. In generating money, I think I've said that before, we can generate money because people that are abroad, they are more than 5 million. We need to go to them. We are from which particular village? We can get up to 10 people from each village that they will just come on board and say, okay, we are following the party. Then let us donate money under one canopy. If we can donate $100 or $50, if we can get up to 2 million diasporans, coupled with people back home, under one canopy, with 10 pastors that have the same ideology, under one canopy, you know how many millions of people will open their minds under 3 months that we will tell them that we need to change. And it will be like a political revolution by ballot box, where everybody will come out en masse and vote for that party that involves their pastors and every of their prophets or whatever they believe in. I think it's an idea to start with, where we create a community cooperation society as a group where people will believe in. I think if we can work from this agenda, we can move ahead. Thank you very much, sir. I'll still have to meet you personally to discuss more on the strategies, because the likes of the Igbo and the Biafras, we need to work along with those ones to bring people together, because the Nigerians are decisive at this moment. So we need to work on how we can tell them, if your secession, your self-determination is not realizable, we can do it another way. And we need to work on that too. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, Samuel. Those are very, very good points. A pastors' movement, get some pastors to come together to begin to really work together and make some impact. Also to raise money and generate money. $100 or $200 times 2 million people might make a real significant change and cause some kind of political revolution. Noted. Ariola, still angry or formally angry?
Still very angry, sir. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and thank you to everyone that has joined the platform. You see, I just think that we're at that stage where we're all just talking, and there are no actions. I'll tell you something. Last week, I decided to take on a young lady that's running for councillor of Lekki. I've been going out on a campaign trail with her. I've been giving out handbills. You should see people's attitude when you knock on their windows, or just even, okay, so I stopped knocking on people's windows. I'm just holding the handbill up and saying, look, this is the candidate, local government elections on the 24th on Saturday, which half of Nigerians don't even know that there's a local government election, or Lagosians don't even know or care. And it's the elite really that don't really care. You will find that the taxi driver will stop and ask me what is happening or whatever, but the elite will just drive past and then they just even show you and as if you have leprosy or something. So that's how angry I am. I've invested money. I've begged pastor, lobbied people to put money into it. You have to support something. If you believe in something, put your money where your mouth is. We sent out, I said, Pastor, let us even gather a list of people that are on this platform that really want to be involved. There were about 120 people on the platform. I don't know, maybe they do not understand how to use the Google Forms. I don't know. We only got 26 responses back. If you're angry, show it. If you really want a change, show it. You have to take action. You can't just be saying, I want Nigeria to change. I want Nigeria. You have to be part of that process. You have to be committed. You have to take your time. You have to be able to give up your time, your money, your resources, everything to be able to be part of that process. Because we just talk, we're like, every time Nigerians, this is the major problem we have. We speak English a lot. We're saying, oh, this particular tribe, they're so daft, they're dumb, they're whatever. But they're strategic and they're taking over. And then we're just still sitting down there speaking English. So if you're angry enough, please show it, because we need to come together, like everybody said, and we need to be really, really deliberate and intentional about what we do. So that's what I'm going to say. Please fill the form. Let us start a movement. We're starting a movement. If we're not starting a movement, let us come and be listening to this platform as if it's a television station or it's a talk show. That's what I'm going to say, Pastor. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much. You've heard it from Ariola. Let us start this movement. If we're starting the movement, please go to the site and fill the form. Let's know those who are interested, and let us see how we can get our registrations. We need to register in the UK, probably need to register in the US. If you are able to handle those registrations for us as quickly as possible, possibly open a bank account that will be accountable for. Let's begin to make our contributions, and then we'll agree on our action points. There are 2 hands being raised, but I'm sorry, I am going to have to let us close at this point. We've been on the platform almost 2 hours, and I know that by now people are not just angry, they're probably also hungry, so that I won't deny them of their meals, except, of course, those who are just waking up in the US. Probably waking up to breakfast or lunch. But the summary of what we have said today are this. Chief Aluki in particular made some very, very serious comments as to us not having sustainability in whatever we start, and that we all must try and make this thing sustainable, okay, and to really focus on it and try and make it happen. He also made a very, very critical point in that most of the leadership right now are not deserving of getting back into the fray. Most of them are not deserving of getting back into the fray. So is it possible to lead a charge or a movement to say, if you've held this office before, you've been involved in this before, if you've held this position before, please don't bother. We want a new group of people. We also need to begin to have some speak outs. Sorosoke speak outs. So also on the platform, if you have anything that you think we need to speak out about, either in the press, in the social media, or even newspaper advertisements, to let people know that they're really a group of people that are concerned or angry, please let us know and be ready to also support the expenses thereof. So we need to really raise some money, and we're going to try and register and open some bank accounts for the next 2 or 3 weeks, into which people can drop some money. And if you don't know people who are ready to put their money to work in this process, please let us know. Let us all be evangelists and apostles of this movement, so that we can at least try something. Somebody also did suggest that we need to galvanize the youth and the women. So I'm going to be trying to meet with a few youth groups and a few people who have influence over the youth, and see how we can speak and make sure we do that. And then something people didn't quite mention, but which I must say, is that all this conversation can be conversation, but if you don't have your PVC, your permanent voters card, you don't have any power. You don't have any power at all. So you must ensure that you personally get your PVC. I don't know what the people abroad are going to do, but you must ensure you get your PVC, and you must ensure that you tell all your people that you have influence over to get their PVC. It's very, 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 very important. In fact, these days, there's nowhere that I speak, either preaching a sermon or even just making a comment, that I don't tell people to go and get their PVC. On Saturday, I spoke in on Monday, I spoke in four functions, and every single one of them, I told them to go and get their PVC. There were church functions, preaching functions, but either before I start my message or when I conclude, I say to them, go and get your PVC. If you don't have your PVC, according to the laws in Nigeria today, you cannot vote, and your vote will not count. And every vote is important. And if we all have our PVCs and we're ready to vote and protect our votes, local government, state, and federal, we will begin to make a difference. One of the things you need to realize is that the 27 million or so votes that are in Nigeria today are owned and accounted for. They are owned and they are accounted for by different groups. Okay, and I can name names. I have no problem naming names. The Northern Clique being spearheaded by Muhammad Buhari today, claimed to have 12 million votes. That was the reason why Tinubu negotiated with him, because he kept on saying the man has 12 million votes. So they have those 12 million votes that they're ready to place at the disposal of whosoever they please. One of them was saying the other day that out of the 200 million Nigerians, 140 million are 120 million are northerners. 120 million are northerners. Hausa. Okay, no, northerners. And then he says 40 million are Fulani. So what he was saying is that 160 million Nigerians belong to the north, and as Jimmy says, they have the numbers, and the remaining 70 are those in the south. So the propaganda is on already. The propaganda is on already of people saying that they have the numbers. So we need to be very mindful of that and know that we need to register to vote. So the 27 million votes are spoken for. Maybe 2-3 million are owned by the APC of the South, led by Bola Tinubu, especially in the Lagos area. Maybe another 3-4 million or 2 million by Atiku in his own stead. Maybe another 2-3 million by some Easterners or the other. And the votes are accounted for, because a lot of these people have sponsored these votes, not necessarily by bribing, but by investing in the lives of the people who are going to vote. And even in some places, some big chiefs put the votes in their pockets and bring them out, or the cards in their pockets, and bring them out only on voting day. So those votes are already accounted for. As a matter of fact, if you do your permutations right, you can almost guess who the next president of Nigeria will be based on the current parameters. And unless there's a great shift or a serious aggression or a serious fight, this is going to be the status quo for many years to come. And that's the reality in Nigeria, because the elite, the people who know better, the people who should be informed, they don't register to vote and they don't go out to vote. So nobody takes us seriously. You know, the other day, some people were trying to campaign in Ituah and all that. And one of the political chieftains, I won't mention his name, told his friends, he was laughing, said, don't let them waste their time campaigning in Ituah and all that. He says they should go to Mushi and Ajegule, that in Mushi, one room has 12 people. One room has 12 people. And therefore, if you go to a face me, I face you with 10 rooms, you are talking straight away to 120 people. And that's where the votes are, in those places. Before you go from house to house, you'll be tired. And each house has 3 people. Out of the 3 people, one is a small girl or a small boy, and the oga and the madam of the house, they won't even bother to vote. So go to Mushi, that's where the people are, and so on. And that's the reality of our situation. We need to begin a leadership search. We need to actually begin to comb the streets of Nigeria and even the diaspora. Is it Ephraim Falugi that we want to lead? Is it Adeshino? Is it Lamido Sanusi? Is it Yemi Osinbajo? Is it who or the other? Who do we think, all things being equal, should be asked to come and take this mantle of leadership? Can we find such a person and begin to speak about such a person and begin to say, this is who the people want? This is how Saul became king in Egypt. This is how in Israel. This is how David became king. The people went to look for him and says, even when Saul was king, you are the one fighting our battles for us. You are the one who killed Goliath. Now the vacancy is there. You come and be our king. I don't see why Nigerians cannot do the same and not let this small club of gatekeepers and king makers determine who our president should be, because they will never determine right for us. They will always determine more for their own interest. So maybe on this platform, if you know anybody, any Nigerian, anywhere in the world, who you think has the capacity and competence to do this job, what kind of character or do we want from our political leader? First of all, he must be visionary. He must have a plan, an idea, a vision of the Nigeria that he sees. Secondly, he must be hardworking. He must be young enough to run around all over the place and do a 24/7 job. Thirdly, he must be totally detribalized. You know, you mustn't hear comments like, it is the people that voted for me that I'm going to take care of. Nobody does that. Even if that's what you mean, you can't say that publicly. I think it's an affront on Nigerians that somebody will come and say, I'm only going to take care of the people that voted for me. We know that they do, and they show those preferences. Even one of my friends has told me before, it is people that sponsored my campaign that I'll first of all respond to. Yeah, that's natural. But you don't make utterances like that to the hearing of everyone, including the international community. So you want to detribalize a dereligious Nigeria, if there's any such word, not that I belong to this clan and I belong to this group. You want a man who has compassion for the average Nigerian on the streets, who loves education, who loves informing the people and setting the people free. A person who is knowledgeable of the basic rules of economics and the basic rules of dynamics and politics all over the world. We need people like that. And that's what I want us to try and focus on this group also. If you know any such person, throw their names into the hat. Wherever they are, we can come and call them and persuade them to come and be part of this movement, or if you even like, be the poster boy or the poster girl for the movement. I think, to be honest, that if most Nigerians were registered to vote and you brought up a very, very viable person and a good person, most of them will say, let's give this fellow a chance at this point in time. So the first thing, everybody must collect their PVC. You must tell your people to collect their PVC. The second thing, let us search for who we want as a people, and say, this is the person that we want. And then the third, let us be ready to really vote and protect our votes, and so on and so forth. And then the issue of independent candidature is something to think about. Let's see if we can put enough pressure on INEC, on the government, to let independents come out. I don't know why they banned independence in the first place, but let anybody who thinks he has the capacity come forth on his own steam. And then this issue of the pastors' movement is very, very cogent, at the risk of being appeared to be religious. But if we can have a pastors' movement, we can also join hands with the imams and with the babalawos to come together and form a movement. About sometime last year, I walked across to my Muslim brothers in the mosque in Lagos, and I said, you know what, you are Muslim, I'm Christian, it doesn't matter. We all came from Abraham in the first instance, and if you compare both religions, to be honest, the foundations are exactly the same. You know, it's just some mischievous people that have decided to heighten and highlight what the differences are. But most of the practices are exactly the same. It's the same story. The Torah, the Quran, and the Old Testament are almost virtually the same story. The difference is Jesus Christ, and we can resolve that one way or the other. It was interesting to find a Muslim sister of mine telling me the other day that they believe that Prophet Isa is the Messiah and that he's coming back. I say, is that in the Quran? She says, yes. I say, so what is the problem? What is the argument? What is the argument? Because that's the fundamental of Christianity also. So I walked across to them and I said, you know what? Whatever it is you are, all we want is good government. Let us work together and try and have good government. If government is good, it will look after the Muslims. If government is good, it will take care of the Christians. If government is good, so that even the Babalawo, as long as he doesn't break any law, can continue to practice his craft, and whosoever is blessed by him, that's their own risk to take. But this is what it is. There must be space for everyone under the sun, as long as you're a Nigerian and you are law-abiding. So we look at forming those alliances with different kinds of people and see how we can get on together. One of the challenges of Nigeria, of course, is that there's not enough sincerity, even on this platform. I'm sure there are one or two people who probably are close to government. You finish on this platform, you're going to call somebody here, call somebody there, call SSS, call CIA, call anything. And that's really what it is. There's too many people like there in Nigeria. You sit together, have a meeting with 8 people. One of them or 2 of them will, of course, go and Judas on you and go and tell the people what you are trying to do. And before you know it, people start making life difficult for you. But that doesn't matter. I'm not bothered about that. Like I told them on my birthday, I said, I'm 60 now. There's nothing to be afraid of. You know, how much time does a man have left? And if I can't speak the truth now, how am I going to face my children tomorrow? So we must just tell the truth. All I want is for Nigeria to be good. I like Chief Falugi. I don't care who is leader in Nigeria. I really don't care, you know, but I just want that person to be a good person who wants Nigeria to prosper. And if you don't want Nigeria to prosper, then what's the point? Why do you then want to deprive people who want Nigeria to prosper from prospering? So these are the issues that we're looking at. And most importantly, and finally, we must all get involved. Like Henry said, we can't just keep talking without getting involved. So you get involved, get your PVC, you go from street to street, educating the people about this thing. Go to your village, go to your friends, even if you're abroad, talk to people, collect them together. We can make a change in Nigeria. We can look for a leader we can contribute money and look for somebody to put that money behind when we find him, or use that money to ensure that there's equity and fairness in Nigeria. We can come back to Nigeria from time to time and do like some kind of evangelism, political evangelism, or some kind of training, or some kind of information here and there. We can do things. We just don't need to sit around, fold our hands, and hope that somebody else will do it. You do it in your own corner. If all the houses were kept clean, the entire town will be clean. So find how you can get involved, because if you don't, I don't know who will. And that's, for me, there's no plan B. Nigeria belongs to all of us. Those who made Europe great were Europeans. Those who made America great were people who settled in America. You can't go out of the place and think that somebody else will make the place good, and then you come back and begin to enjoy the good. If Nelson Mandela had not gone to prison for 27 years, there will be no independent South Africa today. And this is what we need to do. And God will help us to do it. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very, very much for coming on this platform. Thank you for...
1 minute.
Chief Alugi, you know that
Can I urge the forum now, you give between now and the next 2 months to shortlist names of Nigerians, young Nigerians, who we think can perform the job of the president. You know, just as you wrap up the whole issue, let us look at names now to start building up names that we think, whether it's a northerner, whether it's a westerner, whether it's a southerner, easterner, and so on, to start building up names. And we can discuss on those names. That's what I think. On the question of policy game of numbers, yes, I agree. But you find that a lot of the claims the North has made, somebody said, oh, the Northerners are 120, the Fulanis are 40. These people are not Nigerians that are coming from the Sahel to boost they are not Nigerians. People are in Nigeria, but they're not Nigerians. But they're all getting Nigerian passports. They're all getting Nigerian citizenship because of election, period. As you rightly said, at 77, you want to put me in prison, fine. That's no problem. I will speak out. The only thing is I can't get involved in politics, but I can get involved in politics by helping. So let us start with people like Adesina. I mean, I'm a German, he's a Yoruba man. And start people like Ituah, Ighodalo. Find out people, list out names of about 50 people, and we can start narrowing it down and speak to them one by one. We should start that within now and the next 2 months to shortlist names. It doesn't matter where the person comes from. That's what Nigeria is looking for now.
Thank you very much. That's a fantastic idea. If only all we do on this platform is to get these 50 names and then shortlist them to about 5 or 10 and push those 10 aggressively as a group, we would have done a fantastic thing. And we just keep shouting from the rooftop that it is additional we want, it is additional we want, or whoever it is that we want. And we keep pushing it, you know. I think we would have done a fantastic job. And we put all our resources behind whatever name it is. But I think 2 months might be a bit faster. If we can do it within the next 2 to 3 weeks so that we can actually begin to drive that thing. I think if we can do that on this platform, it will be a fantastic job. So whoever it is that you know, bring your name, no matter how wild or far-fetched it is. Bring your name that you have. If you can Google them and tell us what their resume is and why you think they qualify for this leadership position, please bring them. Besides, not all of them can be president, but they can offer. Yeah. They can offer. You know, you get one that's going to lead, then you have 12 or 15 others that will form a team, a coalition, and they go forward. So one will be minister of trade, one will be minister of this and that, or they'll be part of the leadership. And then you know you have about 10 or 15 or 20 good people who are going to try for this. We would have done a fantastic thing, and that will indeed make me very, very excited. So, Chief, I think I want to thank you very much for emphasizing that suggestion. So let's try and do it. Let's give ourselves about 3 weeks at the maximum to do this thing so that we know exactly where we're going as quickly as possible. Please drop your names or the names on the forum. There's a mail address on the forum. Please drop the names there. And if you want, you are bold enough, you can bring them here physically next week and you can mention whatever name you want and then give us the criteria why you think these people qualify. And then, like Chief says, we'll have a way of talking to them. We can have Zoom calls with each and every one of them, interview them, talk to them, invite them to the platform, let them tell us what they think, how they think, what they're going to do. We can analyze them, review them, and then maybe reduce them to about 20 maximum, and then say, we believe in these 20 people that they can sincerely make a change in Nigeria. I think we would have done a fantastic thing. If we're going to start a political party, fine. If we're going to join one of the present non-PDP, APC, whatever it is, a new party, there are a few of them out there that are registered. We can go there and negotiate with them and see how we can drive something forward. And at least God will know that we have tried and we have made an attempt. I want to thank everyone for being here. Sonny, you and I will talk personally. I don't want any more comments after this so that we can close. Same thing with Atuah. Please call me. My number is 0803 300 6167 and we can chat offline. Thank you very much. God bless you. Have a wonderful evening. Nigeria will be great again.
Thank you very much.
Pastor, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Pastor Ituah. Have a good evening.
Thank you, amen. Thank you very much.
Amen,
Thank you so
Pastor Ituah.
So,
Thank you so much, Pastor Ituah.
God bless you. God uphold you.
thank you, Loretta. How are
God bless you, Pastor Ituah.
Humphrey?